Well, hello and welcome to Cecily Reynolds, who is a preschool teacher at St. Mark's Preschool. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like teaching at a school that has multiple classes. Because some of my preschool teachers have even a home-based licensed daycare or things like that. So tell me a little bit about St. Mark's and how large it is, how many teachers, how many kids?
Yeah, we have. So, how many kids? That involves math. I'm not a math teacher, so you'll have to give me a moment on that. But
Approximate.
we have roughly we have 8 normal size classrooms, and then we have a kindergarten, which is 2 classrooms sort of subdivided in the same very large space.
Nice.
And so 2 teachers in that room, clearly one teacher in each of the other rooms with 6 kids in each classroom.
Well, that's really nice numbers.
It's absolutely wonderful. The school used to pre-COVID have, 12 kids, 2 teachers, the assistant, but the assistant could float in and out based on other needs throughout, um, licensing guidelines and such. It's a Reggio based school, which means it's a lot of kid led things, which are fabulous to be able to watch their brains. And so in COVID times, it's been even more interesting to watch them and how they're reacting to the craziness of our world. And I think they are such a great example of how you handle things is how things feel. And they're doing great. You'll hear from teachers across the board that things are a little hard, a little stressful, just because everything has changed. And then some things haven't. The kids' hearts are the same. They still need to see each other. They still need to be around each other. And it's been really cool to see how they've navigated it all.
Yeah, so I would imagine a lot of the big changes have to do with obviously your numbers are smaller and the kids
Right.
and all the PPE or whatever that's changed. What you have to do and wear, sanitary conditions. Um,
Absolutely. I have to say it was a very clean school to begin with, very conscious of,
right.
you know what I mean? And I've been in other situations that weren't. This is a particularly lovely school for that anyway. So what I loved was when we went from closing down in March to when they reopened and I did not join them until recently because of the people I'm taking care of. Um, but as a team, we via Zoom built the systems that were then implemented when they did go open. So it was very well thought out, every little minutia of detail from, and how to do it without killing our environment because
Absolutely.
in the childcare world there was already a lot of glove usage and plastic bags and this and that, so navigating that has been a little tricky as well. But no, cute little kids in masks, and they understand how to use them and when to use them, and they're very diligent and they're very thoughtful. um, Neat things like when they're at a table eating together, there are these cool little clear barriers that you can put up where they can still see each other, but germs are to a minimum.
Nice.
I have not wiped one nose.
And you're a priest? No.
Right? I mean, and as a preschool teacher, I'm used to having like literally holsters of tissues,
Yes, yes.
like ready to go. And that's been amazing. Like the kids are healthier.
I was
Um,
wondering, have they stepped up on that some too? Like, do they take care of that themselves at all, or is it just you think they just seem a lot healthier now?
They're just healthier. I
Interesting.
am not lying when I say I've seen one kid with a runny nose, but she has allergy issues and she's
Right,
has the same runny nose all the time, so
right.
it's not new. Um, but no, the kids that were typically a little on the ugh side for months on end are it's wonderful, so everybody having stepped up a notch of just being more cognizant of what they're doing in other people's space, and you know, i-
Now
is
it's interesting.
amazing.
I have heard from other preschool teachers as well that the mask thing is not an issue for the kids. Like it was an issue for some of the adults early on. Or is this going to work for the kids? And the kids are well, and of course they want to be with their friends. So if I have to wear a mask, they, so you feel that that's true too. It's just not a problem.
It's been really interesting because I honestly thought when I go back, my God, I'm going to be sick within a week because I'm going to just be putting masks on constantly. I have one little tiny girl who has a hard time with her, but my God, she's tiny and precious, and it is what
Well,
it is. But the rest of them, no, they're masters. They're better at them than I am.
now so that's another thing I hadn't asked you. So this is with a lot of the schools that I'm interviewing, we're doing different sizes. So this is one of the larger ones because it has several classrooms. So I have a couple questions about that. And one is, what are the ages of the kids that you,
Yeah, so we are 3 to 6 because
because
of
of
the
the
inclusion of this kindergarten group,
class?
which is a new thing, and we're only doing it for this year, and we're really only doing it for COVID reasons. And it was to help these parents. These kids had just come out of our
Absolutely.
program, and they were like, don't make me throw them to a new place. That's horrible. And I don't blame them. So it's worked out great.
Well, and I
You
think
know,
it's fair to say that in our area, and I know it's different everywhere, but the schools, most of the kindergartners are online anyway. They've been going back and forth a little, but so it was confusing for
yeah.
parents.
And
So it's
so
nice
at
to
least
have a place they know.
Well, at least they're in a place they know and they're with people that they know, and it just kept things more normal. But no, these 3 to 6 year olds are fantastic with them. And masks come with those little bead
Yes.
things. And you'd think that all day long they'd be pulling the beads off, eating them, throwing it at people. I've had one kid who pulled his off. I learned very quickly how to put it back through and put it on. I said, please don't do that again. He's never done it again. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how malleable these kids are in such a wonderful way. Adaptable is probably a
Yeah,
better.
and they can still have fun and have a positive day and a
Yeah.
learning experience. Yeah. One of the nice things I think, and you can tell me more about that, about being at St. Mark's. So some of the smaller schools, it's only one or two teachers or whatever. And I think sometimes that you can feel a little you don't have as much of that professional connectivity as you'd like in your work, or those people to bounce the things off of. But I would think at St. Mark's that you have a nice team there. How does that work for
It's,
your school?
it's funny. I came from the little gym world where team is
Yes,
everything and we're just a huge international family. So to come into a preschool environment that is such a family is lovely. And it's a lovely group of people that really look out for each other. There are exceptions to every rule in life, but it's overall, it's just a wonderful group of people who know how to lean on each other and when to hold each other up, and they're just incredibly supportive. It and that makes a huge difference. And I can't imagine being a child care worker in any way and doing like a home daycare where it's just you and those little monsters are all, like, because some days that's exactly how you feel. Some days they're angels and some days they're not. And to have the backup, and the St. Mark's system is such, you'll love this, that we have the core teachers, then we have a whole nother set of teachers who we call co-vengers that are the support system for all of the teachers. So if a teacher needs a potty break, we're there. If we're the ones that are cleaning the bathrooms behind each of these children after every use so that the teacher is not taking away from their class. But
absolutely.
these are all teachers, including myself, that on any given moment, if we need to trade out, that teacher needs a break from those kids, or one kid really needs a teacher's solo attention, they move aside and a co-venger comes in and takes over that classroom. I mean, that's the symbiotic nature of the school, which is, you know,
Yeah, that's great.
I had never seen that in any other preschool, and I absolutely love it.
Nice. Um, and now I was thinking, hopefully, post COVID, What kind of changes do you think I mean, the masks may go, we'll see, unless someone's sick, but we don't know that. I mean, but post-COVID, what kind of changes do you think would stay at a preschool?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the masks leaving. I don't know that they ever will because they have already proven that the flu is down, colds are down
Mm.
as a result of the mask. So for kids who are just little germ pockets, we love them. They are. It might be the thing that continues. And we kind of need to get used to that. I love the new, um, I just love all the cleaning. It's great. Never going to complain about that. It's just nice to be cognizant of it.
Yeah.
I love the new industrial air filters that at least St. Mark's has
Yeah.
everywhere. Maze balls. I want one for my home. It's like a life goal for me now.
I had
Um,
another teacher mention that actually saying, I think
Ooh,
the air filters will stay and that they make a big difference.
I think they're tremendous. This school, and I know they're expensive, so however they made it happen, God bless America for it. Every room has their own,
Wonderful.
and they're amazing. Um, I like I like the smaller pod. I feel like the kids really I've been fighting against huge classrooms in the public schools for a long time,
Yep.
just as an educator myself, and how I learn. I don't do well in those big environments. I chose a small college because I do better in a small environment. I just think that's just so great for the kids. But I also see the need for bigger groups, for small groups to get with bigger groups. So I'm looking forward to that because the kids get tired of each other
Yep.
and they need interaction from lots of people. We're a social being
Yes.
as
Well, in
human.
preschool for a lot of kids, that's the first real group, excuse me, outside of the family. So you
Yeah.
bring in this group. And then if you can bring them into a little larger group before they go off to elementary school, that's really helpful for them.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Well,
Although we understand now.
even on an older kid level, I think the smaller groups
Oh, I
are
agree.
are nicer. I know of a lot of kids who have really benefited from the online only because in a group setting they just can't focus. They can't get in their space. Other kids need the social. So I think we as a nation need to look more at who a child is and what their learning style is and put them in an environment that works for their learning style instead of like everybody go there and we're not built
The
that way.
factory system, we're all just
Yeah.
lined up in rows.
Yeah.
And I think, over the years, we'll see how things play out. There's been a lot of move forward on that. And I do love the way the public schools around here divide up when things were normal into small groups for a lot of things. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I think again, if your home group is just too big, it just becomes difficult for everyone.
Yeah.
And the
Agreed.
teacher is doing more taking care of issues than instead of the learning that they want to be doing and teaching. So
Right. And that's important in a classroom because I've been in classroom settings where you're literally only managing behaviors and there's no
yeah,
learning happening. And it's very frustrating for everyone involved. And then they lose track of where learning is fun.
right.
So, and I think there's a balance to be struck therein.
Now, I know one of the things that's changed, and I hope will stay and is a really good thing for the future, is a lot of schools are spending a lot more time outside. How is that working at St. Mark's? Oh,
Um, yeah, I mean, again, that's the little gym instructor in me. I'm a huge motor skill based learning person. I think it's imperative to all learning, and getting these kids outside is just so important. Fresh air for one, um, sunshine for another. Vitamin D therapy says a lot for their biorhythms. Um, yeah, St. Mark's has the most amazing playground anyway. Like when I first went there, I just wanted to play on the playground all day. I was like, let's go play. Um, they were able to subdivide the playground in a really awesome way so that each pod has their own good space, but they can still see the others without endangering. It's neat. Like they can interact, but they don't have to or need to or often even want to, but they can. And the outdoor play is important because they offer so many different, again, fine motor, gross motor things that an indoor school setting just can't. And there are so many great programs in the Charlottesville area that have been able to adapt outdoors so beautifully that I mean, I want to go back to elementary school just so I can go to Triple C's Green
Absolutely.
Adventure Project. Like,
We have Wild Rock, which is fantastic.
sign me up. Oh, Wild Rock, yeah.
But even before, of course, I like to uh, beyond, we always had a lot of outdoor time every day, but then I would say, oh, it's a nice, that's story time. We would just go outside and
Yeah.
read a story outside or those kind of things. So I'm hoping that teachers who or schools that weren't doing that now now see the value in that and hopefully keep it beyond the COVID.
Agreed. I
Yeah.
mean, who needs to be inside
And little
all day? It's awful.
It's
I,
good
as
for
an
everyone, but
old,
little people love it.
yeah, I mean, I, as an old woman, I mean, I'm 51. I went sleigh riding yesterday. I
I do believe I saw a little something
might
about
have, might
a,
have been a little video out there on that, but I'm
yeah.
I'm proud to say that, outdoor motor skill development is an inherent part of my being, and it's important, not just because I think so.
Now, I'm going to ask you one more question. I don't want to put you on the spot too much here, but if you were thinking about, and it may be more than one thing, uh, parents who are just getting ready to send their first child to preschool, what one or two things would you like them to know in advance? Yeah, I know it's a bit, but
Well, that goes, you made me think of one of the things that I love the most about this new system is that St. Mark's, the parents don't get to come in the building. They have to do like a super fast I love you drop off.
yep,
And as a little gym instructor, a preschool teacher, and many other, and a mom, that quick drop off is imperative. It just sets the tone for a positive day. So, yeah, I like that part a lot. Um, there's, and that's a little self-serving, mind you, but it's
but
still, it's
I understand. I mean, that
good for
separation
the,
anxiety is hard as a parent.
yeah,
It tears at your heart, and of course, once they're inside playing, they're having a great time, and you still think they're upset. If you stay longer, it just gets worse.
yeah. So that might be my favorite.
Yeah. But letting parents know that this is
Yeah,
what, yeah,
it's just, it's autonomy, and we're sending them to preschool to create that sense of autonomy. And, you know, yes, you're going to miss your child, but please don't spend your time telling them that before you drop them off, because then they spend all day in the guilt
right.
of, oh, my mother misses me. I can't possibly have a
Yeah,
great time. And we want them to go and become the best versions of themselves that they can become. And raising children is a village. So find a village that you trust and you love and you feel comfortable in, and then let that process be, is my
yeah,
best
and
advice.
I think especially nowadays, there's an awful lot of. Um, I do think children should be explained things on their level and understand, but I think there's a lot of over talking.
Oh, amen.
And so if
A-
you do that because you want to make sure they understand, but they already do, but then you overdo it, then it becomes why are they so worried? What's wrong?
well, we don't realize as parents that we are often projecting our anxieties onto
Yes.
them in our love. Love is patient, love is kind. Sit back and let it be. And it's hard sometimes to, we want everything to be right, but helicopter parenting is some of the most painful behaviors to learn to overcome as a child, to get beyond that helicopter parented self. So we want to set them up for success in as many ways as we can.
Yeah, and my thing is always, and I have said this in another interview, but my big thing for parents is to know that when something goes wrong in your child's day, especially those social skill things, that's a good day, not a bad day. Because preschool is where we learn to deal with those things. And how do we
Absolutely.
find the right words, or somebody hit me or took the toy from me? And that's what the work of the school is. So that's a good thing. Not, I mean, I know everyone wants their child to have a great day, but that's where we learn. And so to think of that in a positive way, as opposed to something bad
Well,
happened to my child.
that's a great point. I was always told, workshops and this, that, whatever, that, because parents would always say, why do they act like such jerks around me? Well, they do that where they're the most comfortable. So if they're starting to be little jerks sometimes around their friends and coworkers and such, that means they are comfortable in letting themselves reach parameters and head to boundaries. And that's a great sign of learning. And, I always said to my parents at the little gym, the behaviors that make the teachers work a little harder, that are a little harder to love, those behaviors, those are the leadership behaviors that they will need later on. They just need to learn how to navigate those. And so every challenge is actually an opportunity, even though a
Those
lot of
social
times it's
skills, you gotta
right.
learn them somewhere, and often you're not gonna learn them at home, especially
Right.
where you're the little one where everybody is helping you out.
Oh,
Your peer I had a
helping.
co-teacher years ago who always used to say, "You learn a lot more from your peers than it's
Right.
socially than from your parents
Right.
often." So that
Well,
yeah.
because a lot of sibling behavior is puppy like behavior, they're and that needs external navigation sometimes, because even I got two monstrous puppies rolling around my house right now. And trust me, they need somebody to tell them to stop from time to time. So, yes, I think the peer influence is important because we as adults spend far more time with our peers than we do with our families, right? So, we have to learn how to navigate that world.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, this has been great. Is there anything else you wanna say? Or
no, thank you for the opportunity. It's fun, it's a tricky world out there with our kids, and we just have to love them for who they are and where they're going. And that's hard sometimes.
Alright, well, thank you so much.
Thank
And,
you.